Can you believe that this time in 2015, I published my very first book, The City Beneath. It is the first book I ever published, the third I ever wrote. But in honor of this Throwback Thursday, I am going to be doing a long overdue online reading of book one in my Nightblood series, The City Beneath. I nearly limped right past him, clouded by my own physical pain and the churning unease in my gut, but the rattling hiss that growled from the alley tripped my interest. I stopped walking. The night was cool and quiet in the aftermath of sirens and flashing lights. My scalp tingled in response to the noise emanating from the alley, and I thought of all the things I should do. I should return to the main crime scene. I should finish my interviews. I should write my story and submit it to print like a good, reliable, by-the-book reporter. The hiss rattled from the alley again, but as I'd never been one to leave questions unanswered, I slipped a can of pepper spray from my brown leather crossbody satchel and sidestepped into the alley to find the source of the noise. What I found was a man, and the rattling hiss was his struggling, gurgling, uneven breaths. His entire body was ravaged by third-degree burns. Tucked into a shadowed alley between two buildings on the corner of Farragut Road and East 40th, he was crouched down as if warding off an attacker, perhaps in his case a flamethrower, and not moving. I cringed, thinking about the injury that was blocking his throat to produce such a horrible rattling. Maybe he was crying. Maybe he was just trying to breathe. I couldn't decipher his expression because his burns were so devastating. His face wasn't really a face anymore, beyond the rough distinctions of a lump for a nose and a hole for a mouth. The unease churning in my gut all night bottomed out. I wouldn't have imagined that someone so injured could still breathe. Trading the pepper spray for my cell phone, I dialed Detective Greta Wall. Wall here. She answered on the fifth ring, just before I suspected my call would transfer to voicemail. I already gave you a statement, DeRocco. Let the other sharks have a bite, will you? I found another victim, G, I said without preamble. Alive? Where? Greta asked, snapping from friend to detective instantly. A block up Farragut. He's still breathing, but he's different from the others. No bites. I swallowed the bile that clogged my throat like hot ash. His entire body is burnt to charcoal. Is he wearing a necklace like the ones from last week? They were gold with a wolf pendant. I remember, I said, and no, he's not wearing a necklace. He's not shot execution style like those victims either. He's burned. This is probably a different case altogether. Greta sighed. Stay with him. I'll send a paramedic to you ASAP. It might be a few minutes, though. We've still got our 7 victims being stabilized here. Got it. We'll be waiting. I hesitated a fraction of a second before asking, any one of our victims talking yet? The few that still have throats haven't said a word. They're all in shock. It's not pretty down here, DeRocco. I know. Keep me posted and send Nathaniel to me if you can. Will do, Greta said. I ended the call and sat gingerly on the ground next to the man to offer what comfort I could and to give my arthritic hip the rest it needed. Injuries were supposed to heal with time, but the scar buildup on mine had only increased in the 5 years since I'd taken a bullet. The first stakeout of my career had set a high standard for my field performance, but it also left a permanent reminder to listen to my gut. My hip ached on a regular basis, and lately it would click and grind when put to excess use. After an entire day on my feet, interviewing officers and tracking down witnesses, my activities had apparently escalated way beyond excess. I hope you enjoy this paranormal romance with vampires, police procedural book, The City Beneath.